This is the Baby Master PT live Q&A where you send in your questions and I answer them live. And today's question comes from a grandparent that I actually am working with. And here's the question. The question says, my 11-month-old baby is not able to maintain her balance on her hands and knees. Whenever I put her on her hands and knees, her knees drift out towards the side and she's unable to maintain the position. So what that means is that this baby has strong arms. Baby is able to be in this position with the arms down on the ground. But whenever grandma puts baby on the knees and the knees are in this position, the knees are drifting out towards the outside. So that's what we're going to focus on today. This is what is happening with this baby. Whenever grandma puts baby down on hands and knees, the knees do this. They drift out. Baby's body collapses down in between her knees. And then she just kind of goes back to commando crawling where she's dragging her body around. She's commando crawling, but her legs are just dragging along behind her body as she is moving around on her hands and knees. She is dragging her legs around. She's commando crawling, but the legs aren't really doing any kind of work. So let's take a step back and talk a little bit about what exactly is needed when your baby is trying to crawl. A couple of different things need to happen simultaneously. One, your baby needs to be able to bear their body weight on their hands. Your baby needs to be able to also bear their body weight on their knees with their knees tucked under the trunk. So if you put your baby on your leg like this and you divide your baby's body into the upper body and the lower body, you'll be able to see that, okay, the upper body needs to do its thing while the lower body is doing its thing as well at the same time. And if you put your baby's hands on the ground like this, your baby should be able to do what's called a little baby mini plank, where baby has their hands down on the ground, their head is up, they're looking around at a toy, but they're able to maintain that position with their elbows straight. I'm going to make another video entirely about that if the baby is collapsing onto their face. But today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the knees and exercises that you can do to be able to help your baby to keep their knees on the ground and actually be able to start crawling forward. Now, before we get into that, I want to remind you that if you got value from this video, please like it, share it with someone else who would benefit from it, and subscribe to the channel as I make this kind of content all the time, and you don't want to miss it. I also created a free PDF that you guys can download, and it just covers the motor milestones from 0 to 12 months. You can download it, print it out, slap it on your refrigerator, and have it there as a reference so that you know and are able to keep track of where your baby should be and know when to reach out for some additional help. So let's talk about these legs and a couple of different exercises that you can do to strengthen baby's legs and give baby the ability to be able to bring their legs under their tummy and to be able to stay and maintain this position so that baby can actually start crawling. Now, I always say you have to meet baby where baby is. Baby who's not able to bring their knees under their body and tuck their knees under their hips typically have weak legs. So we're going to do a couple of leg strengthening exercises to help this baby be able to strengthen the legs and be able to start pulling those legs together and moving. So the first exercise is put your baby to lie flat on their back, sit on the ground in front of your baby like I am right now. Take your hands, hold baby's lower legs, bend both knees to baby's tummy, and just cue baby to do a lying leg press, where as baby is pushing against you, you want to be able to be pushing against baby's body. The way you do this, as when you bend baby's knees like this and you are cueing baby to push and slide herself, you're actually giving baby some resistance, moving towards her knees and towards her hips as you're actually straightening the knees. You're not just pulling the knees passively, you're pulling, but you're also giving baby some pressure through her knees and her hips joints so that baby can actually be able to do that and slide her body backwards. This is a great way to strengthen baby's legs. It's just a simple lying leg press exercise. You can do both feet at the same time so that the stronger leg can help the weaker leg. And then as baby gets the idea, you're going to start doing one leg at a time and cueing baby to push against you one leg at a time. So that's the first exercise. Those are called lying leg presses. The second exercise is an activity called bridging. I'm going to demonstrate what bridging looks like first. Then I'm going to show you how to do it with your little one. The way you execute a bridge, you lie flat on your back, bend your knees, and you're simply bringing your buttocks up off the ground into this position. That's a bridge. You're going to have your hands down on the ground. And you go down and up, down and up. And believe it or not, you can actually do this with your baby. I like to model the activity. So get down on the ground, lie beside your baby, do some bridging so the baby sees what it is that you're doing. This baby is 11 months old. She's fairly smart. She can figure out, okay, I can copy what mom or dad is doing. So it's not like you're doing this with a 1-month-old. You're doing this with an 11-month-old baby. And so the way you do this, you put baby to lie flat on the ground, bend baby's knees so that her bottom is still on the ground, and you're going to put her knees a little bit apart so that both knees are directly under her hips. Put her knees a little bit apart, and you notice what I have going on here. I've trapped her feet up against my leg. And what I want you to do is take one hand, hold baby's knees so that the knees stay bent and she doesn't lose the knees. Take your other hand, put it on the baby's tush, and give her a little poke in her bottom to cue baby to come up into the bridging position. You want to encourage baby to put her hands flat down on the ground, and that way baby can use her hands to push down on the ground a little bit while she is doing the bridging activity. And you want to do about 10 to 15 bridges. Once baby gets the idea of what it is that you want her to do, baby should be able to do it. I work with babies. They actually will start bridging like crazy once they see that this is what you want them to do. They just go crazy with it. And the next thing you know, they've done 10, 15 of these, no problem. This helps to strengthen baby's upper thigh muscles and her buttock muscles. The next activity that you're going to do is keep baby in this position. The next activity is what's called knee squeezes. I wish I had a better name for it, but that's what I'm calling it. And this activity is going to tap in to baby's reflexes, and you're going to use it to strengthen the muscles on the inner part of baby's thigh muscles. And one of the reasons I'm doing this activity is because when baby is on her hands and knees, and you notice this kind of thing happening, let's say we position baby on her hands and knees, baby is able to maintain her balance on her hands and knees, but her knees tend to drift apart and her bottom drops down in between her legs, and now she looks like a little frog laying on the ground. That means that the muscles on the inner part of her thighs are weaker than they should be. Baby needs to be able to pull these knees together, and so your baby is going to use these inner thigh muscles to pull the knees together and be able to maintain and hold this position. So that is why we're doing the knee squeezes. Again, we're going to put baby to lie flat on her back, bend her knees, hip flat on the ground, hands flat on the ground, the same position that we did with bridging. But here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take our hands, put our hands in between baby's knees, and give her a quick outward push down towards the ground. You notice the way, even with a doll, the way the knees came back together. That is what you want until eventually you get to a point where you continue to practice this until you can give baby a little bit of pressure outwards and cue baby to bring her knees together while she is resisting, while you're giving baby a little bit of resistance, pushing those knees gently apart. You just want baby to be able to bring her knees together. What you don't want to see is when you put your baby in this position, that her legs kind of fall outwards towards the side like this, and she's not able to bring her knees back together. And so by positioning baby in this position and bringing those knees apart quickly, you cue baby to use their reflexes and bring those knees back together and squeeze the knees together. And now you have your exercise and you're doing your baby knee squeezes to try to target and strengthen those upper thigh muscles on the inside of baby's legs. The next activity that I want you to do for your little one is put baby to lay flat on her back. Have baby just bring her legs up to kick at a ball or kick at a toy. Now you can use something where you dangle and cue baby to just lift her legs and be able to kick at it. And now that will help to strengthen her lower abdominal muscles, strengthen her hip muscles, her upper thigh muscles as she brings the legs up in this position. As baby, every time baby brings her legs up, she's doing a little mini lower abdominal workout, and she's getting the benefit of that. This will benefit her when she's on her hands and knees, and now she pushes up on her hands, but now she needs to bring her knees under her tummy. She's using her lower abdominal muscles to pull those knees in, and she's also going to be using her her muscles, her leg muscles, to be able to keep the knees from sliding apart. Another activity that you can do with your little one is to put baby on hands and knees. You might need to, especially for a baby like this, is sit on the ground with your feet wide apart and just bring your feet in close to baby's feet so that you trap her knees under her hips, so that you have her in this position where I can take one leg, I have her trapped with one leg, I take my other leg and just bring that other foot and just trap her in this position. Once I have her trapped in this position, I have her on her hands and knees. I can give her a little bit of downward pressure through the hip joint into the knee joint. This will cause the muscles to activate and start to co-contract around the entire hip joint area and be able to keep her baby in this position and get baby used to being in this position on hands and knees. And then what we can do next is gently start to rock baby front to back. We've probably seen babies on their hands and knees and they don't look like they're really doing anything. They're not going anywhere, but they're just rocking front to back. What baby is doing naturally is testing to see just how far they can go before they tip forward onto their face and lose the position altogether. That rocking, we need stability before we can have mobility. Once baby starts to feel stable in hands and knees, baby will then feel more comfortable rocking and actually start trying to move. Sometimes we need to take a step back with our little one in order to take a step forward. So that's what I want you to do. And of course, we have a phone call coming in. I think we could just pause and wait for that to go to voicemail. All right, looks like that is done. This is an activity for an 11-month-old baby. So the last activity that I'm going to show you is to use a light, I would say don't use a ball like what I'm using here. Use a lightweight ball, put it in between baby's legs and see if you can get baby to trap the ball and pick it up with her legs. Now, this particular ball will be kind of hard for a baby to do, even if baby's 11 months. Again, model the activity you want baby to do, and then cue her. I would say use a balloon. And what you want is just for baby to be able to grab it with their feet. Once you put it in between her legs and put her legs to the side of it, she will get the idea that, okay, you know what? You want her to hold this with her legs. She can bring it up with her feet and then use her hands to touch and play with it. So those are a couple of activities that you can do to help to strengthen your baby's legs and get your baby to be able to maintain that hands and knees position and actually start being able to crawl. Okay, so that is it for today's live, my friend. I will talk to you in the next video. I'm also going to put a link to a full video that I made about crawling that has some additional crawling exercises. I'll drop that down in there. All right. As always, a hug is a silent I love you. So don't forget to hug your babies. I'll see you in the next video.